Hello and welcome to the State of the Fleet Industry, a weekly video series produced by Automotive Fleet magazine. I'm Mike Antich, editor of Automotive Fleet, and today I'd like to examine what's occurring in the fleet industry for the week of January 9th, 2023. And for this week's episode, I'd like to discuss the 2023 Consumer Electronics Show held in Las Vegas, which I attended just last week. And if you've never been to the Consumer Electronics Show, it's massive. Wear comfortable shoes. To give you an idea of its size, think of the largest trade show you've ever attended, then multiply it by 3 or 4. That's easily the size of the Consumer Electronics Show, or CES as it's commonly known. In its background, CES has its roots in the consumer electronics industry, and it's grown over the years to become the largest technology conference in the world. But in the past 15 years, CES has also evolved into an important platform for a growing number of global automakers and their Tier 1 suppliers who are looking to showcase their mobility technologies. In fact, at this year's CES show, the entire West Hall of the Las Vegas Convention Center was devoted solely to automotive technology. Every square foot of exhibit space was sold out. That's 600,000 square feet of automotive exhibit space, which is almost the equivalent of 14 acres. Each year, the number of OEMs exhibiting has been increasing. In fact, the floor space for the automotive exhibits in 2023 was 25% larger than the automotive floor space at the 2022 CES conference. So increasingly, CES has become a window into how technology will transform the automotive industry, which by default will transform the fleet assets and technology that companies will operate in their fleets in the coming years. And one seminal moment in the evolution of CES into a major auto show occurred last year at the 2022 CES conference when GM CEO Mary Barra revealed the Chevrolet Silverado EV pickup truck. And this trend continued at this year's conference, CES 2023, when Carlos Tavares, CEO of Stellantis, gave an excellent keynote presentation revealing the company's top technology objectives. In fact, you can watch his entire presentation on YouTube by simply Googling his last name in CES 2023. But one of the highlights of his keynote address was when he asked Ram CEO Mike Koval to come to the stage to present the Ram 1500 Revolution, a battery electric concept pickup truck, which directionally is what the ultimate production version will be like when it debuts in the 2024 calendar year. The Ram 1500 Revolution offers a number of unique features that will be appealing to vocational fleets. And one example is an 18-foot long storage space stretching from an extended truck bed in the rear to the front compartment, or frunk as it's called, which was the traditional engine compartment. This 18-foot long storage space, it's going to be appealing to fleets in the construction industry or other vocational applications that require hauling long-length materials. And another feature of the Ram 1500 Revolution is a third row of removable jump seats, which will appeal to companies that transport larger work crews to remote job sites. The debut of the Ram 1500 Revolution production EV, along with the Chevrolet Silverado EV, which will start shipping this spring, plus the current production F-150 Lightning, creates no doubt in my mind that the full-size EV pickup market will be intensely competitive in the next several years. And if these EV products appear as publicized, I believe Ford, GM, and Ram will each have home runs in their portfolio. And with this in mind, the 2024 and 2025 model years promises to usher a very competitive market among the big three OEMs as they battle for commercial and government fleet orders. The ICE pickup market is already extremely competitive, but my prediction is that the competition among full-size EV pickups will take this competition to a much higher level. Most buyers of ICE pickups are very brand loyal, but brand loyalty for full-size EV pickups, in my opinion, is still embryonic and in many ways still a blank page. While there may be long reservation lists for these EV pickups, I believe the competition for full-size EV pickups, especially on the fleet side, will become very intense, which is good news for fleet buyers. The wild card going forward for full-size EVs will be total cost of ownership. Acquisition costs have to be controlled, but this is easier said than done, especially when battery costs are vulnerable to the volatility in commodity prices. All three of these full-size EV pickups look sensational and appear capable of fulfilling most fleet applications. But ultimately, the winning brands will be those who do the best job in managing the total cost of ownership. So let's take a walk along the show floor and see who else is exhibiting. So next, I'd like to discuss VinFast, and this is the second year that VinFast is exhibited at CES. And as you can see, VinFast had a massive exhibit where it showcased its two EV SUVs and its two EV crossover models, along with holding an outdoor ride and drive in the convention center parking lot where attendees had an opportunity to get behind the wheel of its VF8 SUV. As background, for those unfamiliar with VinFast, it debuted the VF9 with 3 rows of seating and the VF8 SUV model at the LA Auto Show in December of 2021. And 1 year later, just last month in December of 2022, VinFast debuted in the US market the VF7 and VF6 crossover models, also at the LA Auto Show. So here's a photo of the VF6. It's a B segment all-electric crossover, and it's the smallest model in the VinFast lineup, and it has a maximum range of 248 miles on a full charge. Next is a photo of the VF7. It's a C segment all-electric crossover that's slightly larger than the VF6 and has a maximum range of 280 miles on a full charge. So while the VinFast may be entering the US market later than most OEMs, its timing, in my opinion, couldn't be better. With today's sourcing constraints, fleets are looking for new OEMs to diversify their sourcing options, which makes them all the more receptive to investigating new OEMs such as VinFast. These sourcing constraints will be a window of opportunity for VinFast to establish a foothold in the US market, which might have been a much more difficult thing to do had it entered the US market prior to the pandemic. So let's continue our walk along the show floor and visit the Cenntro Electric Group, which has a full line of EV commercial vehicles ranging from classes 1 to 4. And its portfolio will further expand in the third quarter of this year with the launch of a Class 8 hydrogen fuel cell truck. And as you can see, Cenntro has a very impressive booth to showcase its entire product portfolio, which also includes 3 of its iChassis autonomous vehicles. And here's a photo of Cenntro's LS300, an all-electric commercial work truck with a traditional chassis and exterior body. It features 370 cubic feet of storage space and a payload of 3,307 pounds with a battery range of 273 miles. Next is a photo of the LS400 in a cutaway version. The LS400 is a Class 4 truck designed primarily for urban delivery and freight hauling. And finally, also on display at the Cenntro booth was the upcoming LM864H, which is a 6x4 semi-tractor representing Cenntro's first entry into the hydrogen fuel cell market, and it'll be its first heavy-duty truck in its product portfolio, and it'll be available in the third quarter of 2023. And this just scratched the surface. There are a number of other noteworthy models and technology announcements that were made at the 2023 Consumer Electronics Show. And here are some examples. Mercedes-Benz, they announced an advanced autonomous driving system. BMW, it announced its iVision D concept car that has the ability to change its exterior color with the push of a button. And this is a very interesting concept from a fleet perspective, and it could prove to be very promising during the time of vehicle remarketing. Next, you have the VW ID.7 EV that Volkswagen plans to launch in 2024. And you have the Volvo EX90 all-electric SUV with seating for 7. And then finally, you have the Afeela EV, which will launch in the spring of 2026. And this is the first model produced by the new Sony Honda Mobility joint venture. So a lot of exciting things coming up. So there were a lot of things going on at the 2023 Consumer Electronics Show, but this will have to be my final observation. And with that said, I'd like to conclude my State of the Fleet Industry presentation for the week of January 9th, 2023. And I'd like to thank you for watching.